Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ruby Summer Rose Court. To recap where we left off last time, Ruby and John successfully secured Pridwyn, which is the Ark family shield passed down from generation to generation. But we made it out even though we were ambushed by the Alpha Grim that had poisoned Weiss, and Jean had actually killed it. Now we have returned to Beacon, so let's dive right back in. It's been a long ride back to Beacon. Jean is quiet, holding his family's shield before him, running his fingers over the crest. So... He rubs his neck. While completely healed, I can still see patches that are pink with irritation. Maybe from where the quills pierced through? It has to be nice to have a real grasp on your semblance, healing yourself, all of us. That was amazing stuff back there. Yeah, I guess it was. Ruby. I'm trying to put a positive spin on it, but he almost died. You just retrieved your family shield. You should be celebrating. What's up? Nothing changed. Huh? He's got a 1,000-yard stare, Pridwyn propped up against his saddle. He clutches it, gripping the edge and squeezing it over and over again. I'm still the same me. Well, you are the same you. Yeah, kind of a no-brainer there. Oh my god, he nudges her off screen. Ren nudges her, and she angrily starts nudging him back as they ride ahead. Another great use of animation right there. Jean looks after them with a tired smile, but slowly his smile fades away. I think he's upset that, even with such a powerful family heirloom in possession, he still wasn't physically strong enough to lift it up and defend his queen, and I think that's what's bumming him out right now. I mean, I still feel like that little boy hiding for my life. Hiding everything. Jean hunches forward in his saddle, shoulders hunched in and eyes closed. Ruby, do you really think things are going to get better? How can you look at everything we're up against and think we stand a chance? The Domremery ruins are far behind us. They weren't the only ghost city we encountered, hills bereft of everything except tombstones. In front of us, look out over the fields down at the city, my city. Because there are still people around me who refuse to give up. They're relying on me. For some of them, I'm all they have. Then what do you have? I have them. They're there for me, I'm there for them. All for one and all that. I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. Also, I have a castle. Jean laughs. It's the first time I've seen him smile in days. Do you have to sound so smug about it? Aw, you love it. I bring Ember forward and clap him on the shoulder before laying my hand atop Pridwyn. This is another win for us, Jean. Don't forget that. Let's just take a quick moment here to just really appreciate how expressive and cute Ruby's sprites are. I mean, a lot of the game sprites in this game are really expressive and wonderful, but man, Ruby in particular, her sprites are so wonderful, like, especially in that moment where she's like, oh, you love it, especially with that smug face. That was great, I love it. You saw what your semblance did when it interacted with Crescent. When we get back to the city, maybe we can do something about the grim sickness. You couldn't heal each person in the city, but maybe we could use the ley lines, or use your power on the source of the sickness. Me alone, I can't fix it, and you alone, you probably can't either. But if we work together... I hold his eyes until I see him nod, then take my hand away. Leaving him to his thoughts, I gather my cloak around me and trot ahead to rejoin my kingdom. The next day, I visit Penny down in the laboratory again. I don't see Weiss anywhere in the dusty room, but her tools are everywhere. The lamps are low, with most of the light focused on the table in the center of the room. Surprisingly, I see Ren and Nora standing beside the table where Penny rests. Nora raises her hand and very gently pokes Penny's nose. Boop! Anything? Afraid not. Aww. What are you two doing? Nora bolts upright and spins to face me. It was Ren's idea, she blurts out. Total lie. We wanted to check up on Penny. It was a long shot, but I thought we could do something for her. She's a very special case, but she's spirit-touched, just like us. It's not fair. Nora pulls up a stool, sitting next to Penny. She takes her hand, giving it a little squeeze as she looks down at the automaton. We only just started to become friends, you know? Yeah. Fellow redhead looking out for the other redhead. I know. Weiss's tools are laid out beside Penny with the precision of a surgeon. Knowing Penny is in the most capable hands in the castle comforts me a little. I sit down beside her, looking over her still frame on the workbench. Penny's eyes are closed as if she's sleeping, her face totally relaxed. Her blouse is hiked up, exposing her belly. There's a seam in her otherwise pale skin. The line travels vertically through her torso, and after a moment I notice other seams in her skin. They follow lines where musculature would normally be. They seem to be rose vines carved into her as they are within my castle. Penny? I jolt back, surprised by a foreign wave of self-consciousness. That wasn't Crescent Rose. Penny? Is she trying to talk to us? Can you hear me? She's not answering, but I'm sure of what I felt. It's a sensation even stronger than when we first met in the secret lab. Poke Penny or don't poke her. Maybe we have to establish some sort of physical connection. It's a bit rude, but I'm gonna try it. Well, if you're not there, then my hand hovers over her belly. Ruby, I guess you won't mind if I test and see just how ticklish you are. Immediately, Penny's voice speaks up in my mind. Huh, no, don't. Those parameters don't need any additional testing. Just kidding. Oh. I can't believe this. Circling around the table, I step up to hold her face in my palm and gently angle it up. Penny, are you awake? Are you hurting? Is there something I can do? Just say it and I'll do it. Oh. She cares so much about Penny. Just say it and I'll do it. Brought a tear to my eye. Whew. Man, I'm a crybaby, but I love them. She's awkwardly quiet for a bit. I'm really sorry for having to reach out to you like this. It's fine. I'm just happy to hear you at all. And this is how you got my attention the first time, right? Right. And you hated it. And I know how much you hate it when Crescent speaks through your mind as well. There's a reason I've been actively avoiding it, you know? Oh, Penny. Huh, I appreciate that, Penny. This is an extenuating circumstance, though, wouldn't you say? I just feel so stupid. I pushed myself too hard and I overheated, and now I damaged something important. My flesh is stronger than steel, yet there are parts of me that are so unimaginably fragile and human. Join the club. Crescent, you there? You rang? You rang? Some advice would be great. The poor little primrose. She tried to keep up with the real roses in the garden and got burnt. That's not very nice. You know, this is just something that I picked up on, but it's like Crescent's use of diction here, like word choice. When she refers to Penny as a primrose, you know, it's like a flower that sounds like a rose but isn't technically a rose. And so that kind of echoes, you know, Penny's story in the main series of Ruby, where she's not a real girl, or so she says, until Ruby validates her and says that she is a real girl. So when Crescent says that this little primrose tried to enter the Garden of Roses, you know, she got rejected. She doesn't belong there. Any advice that's not condescending and weird would be great. This isn't the first time my body has failed, and it doesn't surprise me that there's no records on how to restore me. There's nothing I can do? The last time my reservoir failed, Edubige tried to stoke my aura with her own. Oh, and that's when you killed her. Yes. Penny's eyes flutter. My heart leaps in hope, but her body remains still. Okay, but we don't know the same thing will happen to me if I try. Haven't you listened to a word I've said? Yes, but I can't ignore the possibility that we can save you. I won't let you sacrifice yourself. Oh boy. I'll be careful, or you're not listening. It's like one of those moments where, like, depending on how you say either of these, they could come off as positive. I don't know. When Penny says that we're not listening, would it be right to echo those words back to her because we deeply care about her? Or maybe we'll just go with, I'll be careful. Penny, I promise I'm not going to risk myself. It's been 2 centuries. There's bound to be some research or something that can help. I'll talk to Oobleck and see if there's any other hidden spots or new information that he's dug up. Glinda too. A wizard is bound to have a few tricks for every occasion, right? Trust me. Let me help. My father was a genius, and even he couldn't save Edubige. I can't help but think back to the macabre theater I found Penny in. Genius? That's debatable. Again with those eyes. I heard that. What I mean is, I've already got an advantage that your father didn't. Really? Aww. She's so hopeful. Yes, do tell. I'm at the edge of my throne. Our throne. Well, actually... Oh, you're talking about me, aren't you? Too bad. I refuse to participate in this cavalcade of terrible decisions. You know perfectly well that Penny would do anything to protect me in battle, and by extension, she protects you and your foothold to the world. So we should allow her the chance to kill you. A wonderful idea. I've already tried to explain this to her, Crescent. She's stubborn. I've noticed. Excuse me, I'm the stubborn one? I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. What are you hearing right now? Right, Ren and Nora have been there the entire time. I whirl around and see Ren and Nora standing there looking slightly bewildered. Yeah, that's right. We're still here. Is everything okay? You've been shouting at the wall for a while now, and it's getting pretty heated. I'm sorry. Oh wait, they can't hear me. Tell them I'm sorry. Sorry. Crescent Rose is being stubborn about helping Penny. We gathered. Your aura always goes a little squirrely whenever you talk to her. She's a bit of a drama hog, if you ask me. Ooh. In response, a gust of wind picks up and the entire room shudders, like the castle is growling at us. Bring it! Oh god, Nora, don't. We'll give you some privacy. Aww. Ren hooks his arm around Nora's and drags her out of the room with minimal protests. I really love like these creative uses of animation where it's not just, sprites exiting, frame left or frame right. And like, that was really cute, like, where you could actually see Ren like switching to a different pose, latching onto Nora, and then sliding out with her. That was really cool. I take a deep breath. Crescent Rose, please. Penny is my friend, and we need every possible advantage against the Grimm. And we won't get anywhere if you keep snapping at everyone who tries to get close to me. It is true that my father had to do extensive work to avoid your attention, Crescent. You would violently reject any direct connection between us. That only changed when Edubige. The stones rumble, the whole castle shaking with her wrath. Your father meddled with souls, meddled with a sacred bond of blood. And yet you dare suggest that I am the one to blame for her death? Quit it. Holding out both my hands, I force the castle to remain still. And stop throwing a hissy fit. That isn't what Penny is trying to say. Don't you get it? You're so obsessed with the mistakes of the past, you won't even see what's in front of you. I'm the last of my bloodline. If I die, then you'll have nobody to fall back on. But Penny is a rose, or she's as good as one. With no named successor and no living relatives to speak of, she's the best candidate to replace me with. If you let her die, knowing you might have changed things, you are a fool. Blood is all that matters. Continuation is all that matters. Her voice cuts in my mind like a headache, but there's a falter in the spirit's tone. So the fact that Nora inherited Madiganhild from her adopted mother means nothing, right? That's different. You don't sound too sure of that. Crescent, we want the same thing. I want to protect Ruby, and if I... Silence. Bring little Primrose to the throne room. You'll help her? Make no mistake, this is a judgment. We shall see if her words are true. I wonder what's going to happen. After a quick discussion with my castle guard, Penny is brought to the throne room. She rests on a table near the throne itself. I pace in front of her, occasionally reaching out to stroke her forearm. What exactly do you intend to do? Experiment on her. A single rose vine stretches up from the floor, winding around the table legs and up Penny's body. Isn't that all she's good for? No. The air in the room stirs, and in an instant, a whirlwind picks up around us. A pulse of energy ripples through my bones, and then... I'm empty. The ever-present weight of Crescent Rose is just gone. Penny? Oh, that's a new sprite we haven't seen before. She's snoozing. Crescent? It's like when I was back in Spiritus Bellatorum, when Crescent's presence was distant and quiet. I don't have any time to question the feeling any further. Penny's body jolts, twitching on the table. Whoa, Penny, Was that you? Did you move? Penny's eyes open, blinking several times, and then she slowly sits up. Penny pushes herself off the table, facing away from me, and wobbles like a baby deer on a frozen lake. Careful, don't strain yourself. Her hand reaches over to my forearm and grips it, strong as a vise. Penny? No, I don't think so. Crescent? Hello, Ruby. It's interesting to see you from this perspective. Whoa. Different color outline. Crescent releases her grip on my arm and slowly takes a step forward. She rests her forehead in the palm of her hand, lips frowning tightly. Perhaps the little primrose could serve as a backup. Crescent examines one of Penny's fingers, pulling the digit backwards to test its limits. A very, very temporary backup, ideally. I am livid. What are you doing? You weren't supposed to possess her. You were supposed to try and help. Crescent Rose rolls her new eyes. I am helping. Ramshackle though it may be, this body is a complex machine. This way, I have access to these automaton's memories. Confident with her movements now, she shakes herself out and briskly walks off. Hey, come back here or else! Or else what? Penny's body has vines of its own, woven into her construction. They wave cheekily. Alright, you belong with me. Penny's body belongs to her. This is just wrong. I'm trying to think. Maybe... like, this first option, you belong with me, kind of sounds like a selfless, or maybe even selfish request? Or maybe we can achieve the sentiment behind this first option by looking out for Penny first and saying that her body belongs to her own. Alright, here we go. You can't just hijack people's bodies against their will. How are you even moving it? I thought her aura was leaking. A jolt of aura here and there, and it dances. She doesn't have any aura left, whereas I am aura, and as long as I am here, she is stable. Do you have objections to that? It's as long as she's okay with it, I guess. Consent is sexy and important. I wouldn't be in here if she didn't allow it. Oh, okay. I have no desire to stay within this usurper's body. And when I am finished here, I will attune to you once more. This is like really, really weird to see Penny smile like this, but it's Crescent, really, instead. We turn the corner and arrive in front of the library doors. Inside, Oobleck is sitting on top of one of the tables, his legs tucked up underneath him. There's a veritable fortress of scrolls and books around him. His head twitches up at our approach. Ruby! He stands up and then realizes he's walled himself in. Let me just step over. Don't worry, Master. Crescent Rose continues on her way, disappearing into the bookshelves. I chuckle awkwardly. Oh my, how marvelous! Is Miss Pendrake feeling better? Crescent continues sniffing around, tapping fingertips to stone walls and listening carefully to the noise it makes. A little. She's not completely together just yet. Bracing one shoulder to a bookshelf, she starts shoving it aside. The wooden feet scrape and groan against the floor. She seems to think there's a secret passage in here, somewhere? There is. The castle is full of them. Frankly, you can't toss a dead cat without hitting some. I've accounted for most of them, however. Nothing useful to be found in the library, I'm afraid. Maybe you missed one. Oobleck scoffs. In here? Why, that's preposterous. I've scoured the whole castle for more hidden spaces such as the one where we found Miss Pendrake and... A loud scraping noise interrupts him, and we both look over. There, right where bare walls should be, is an open passageway. Oh my goodness, there's another secret passage in here! Excuse me, if you'll all wait here. Oobleck and I hang back. I want to follow, but I'm nervous about what might be lurking in an unexplored part of my castle. Penny? There she goes, drifting again. Just as I'm about to follow her in, Crescent reemerges. Her arms are laden with folders, books, and scrolls, a longsword, and 2 bottles of wine. Looks like it's safe for you to enter. There is a sizable collection of spirits down there. Drinkable ones, I mean. She smirks, setting the bottle into my hands. Here, for you. She passes the pile of papers, the second bottle, and the sword into Oobleck's arms. And for you. Maybe we'll open them when we have a cause for celebration. I've done my part. This shell chafes, so the rest of you can do without me. There's a flash of red light from Penny's eyes, and then her body crumples onto the floor. In a rush, Crescent returns to me, filling me with that heady sense of power. Disoriented, I take a moment to steady myself. I think I might barf. I shake my head to clear it before bending down to check on Penny. There doesn't seem to be any dents or damage on her from the fall. Thankfully. Penny, you okay? The dead silence makes my heart beat faster, but after a moment, I can hear her in my mind again. Fine. Tired. Oobleck is a little too preoccupied to notice me on the floor. Ruby, this sword is nearly identical to the one responsible for that large hole in our dear Pendrake's chest. He drops the files to examine the sword more closely, holding it up to the light. It's ceremonial, at least 200 years old. But who did it belong to? A mark of nobility, of course, so there would be records. Linked to a rise in rank? Possibly. After setting Penny's arms over her chest so she's not sprawled out as much, I look up at him. Any idea who? I can find out. Excuse me. He zips off. I keep trying to move Penny, but my back muscles twinge in complaint. I sit down beside her and rest my hand on her shoulder. It's a bit of a token gesture, considering the state she's in. There's not much more I can do. My being here is just a burden for everyone. Her voice box cracks, a shimmer of green energy sparking on her body. I'm just broken. I always have been. I have nothing left to give. What do I even say to that? Silence settles between us, uneasy and awkward. I gather the papers Oobleck has left behind and stand up. Let's get you out of here. As we make our way downstairs, I hear a voice call after me. Oh, Ruby. Hello there. Jean told me I would find you here. We were supposed to spar together, but... She sees Penny and halts mid-sentence. Oh dear. Is there any way I can help? She looks heavy. We'd appreciate it. Pyrrha steps forward and helps support the wooden pallet we had been using as a stretcher for Penny. Several of the guards sigh noticeably with relief as Pyrrha picks up their slack. She's strong. She speaks gently to Penny as she carries her. You're a fighter. You'll pull through, okay? Okay. I don't interrupt, staring hard at Pyrrha as she carries on her one-way conversation with Penny. Noticing it, Pyrrha rubs the back of her neck and coughs. Forgive me. I know she can't hear me, but I found it helps to talk to comrades when they are injured. Even if they're unconscious, I like to believe my voice can reach them. Your words are reaching her. To my surprise, she bends down and presses a kiss to Penny's forehead. We're here for you, Penny. Oh. Interesting. The guards bring Penny inside, but I hang back with Pyrrha. Was there something you wanted to ask me earlier? It can wait. Honestly, it can. I'm much more concerned about our friend. Is there anything else I can do for her? I'm not sure yet. Let's find out. Inside, I see Penny has been placed back on the workshop bench. Weiss is there by her laid-out tools, scowling fiercely as she doles out instructions to the guards. As I walk inside, she locks eyes with me. What, pray tell, is the meaning of this? I step out for some notes. Not even gone an hour, and you run off with Pendrake's body? Uh-oh, she's mad. That face. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. What were you even doing with her? She's in critical condition, and you risk making her even worse. I am in the middle of extremely delicate and technical procedures, and what's more... Weiss pauses for air, and I take the opportunity to speak. We may have found some clues to help you. As I explain what had occurred, Weiss's expression shifts from barely veiled frustration to a more thoughtful look. Crescent Rose was able to move the corpus. Interesting. Is that good? It was risky. That said, it narrows down the list of potential problems considerably. Crescent Rose said that Penny just doesn't have the aura to move her own body. Maybe if I stuffed her with dust. Pyrrha laughs awkwardly, not quite in the loop, but amused nonetheless. You can't solve every problem with dust, Sershni. I can certainly try. Weiss eyes the stack of notes in my hands. I'll sort through these. Hopefully they'll fill the gaps in my knowledge. With a nod, I hand Weiss the stack of notes. She hurries over to her workstation, and I'm left wondering what's left for me to do. Before I can get too comfortable, my favorite familiar frantic librarian clatters downstairs, a huge book in his hand and a wide grin on his face. Ruby, I believe I know the identity of our mysterious engineer. He drops the book down on the table and opens it to a bookmarked page. I suspected Penny's father was purposely stricken from the royal records. Fortunately, this sword is inscribed with a motto and a heraldry symbol which corresponds to a family house. By cross-referencing that house name with the census data during the years close to Queen Edubige's reign, pausing for dramatic effect, he taps the book meaningfully before pulling a loose scrap of parchment from the pages. With a flourish, he presents it to me. It's a sketch of a group of people, but it's torn. Only one figure is clear, a tall, stern-faced man with short black hair, wearing formal clothing paired, unusually, with a gauntlet on one arm. Jonathan Rosewood. Recognize the name? Who was he, exactly? He was second uncle to Queen Edubige, chief scientist in her Summer Rose Court, duke of various minor territories, and most likely creator of our dear Miss Penny. Can you show me that picture? I lean down to show the sketch to her. Father, that's him. That's definitely him. Oh. Penny's voice drops, thick with grief. Penny, is this too much for you? She doesn't answer, so I stand and look to Oobleck. Thanks for finding all of this for us. Can you help Weiss with the rest of the preparations? Absolutely! Oobleck hurries off, and I lean back over to Penny. This is something, right? Penny doesn't respond, but I can feel the faint ache of her heart through our connection. Or maybe it's just my own heart breaking for her. Waves of sadness still radiate from Penny's motionless form, like an ill breeze buffeting my heart. I've never heard of a man named Rosewood. But there isn't a single dust user or engineer in Mishklas that hasn't heard of James Ironwood. Ah. Is it an alias of sorts? Rosewood, Ironwood? Should I know him? Ironwood quite literally wrote the book on automaton engineering. Not everyone knows this, but he was originally from Vale. There were always rumors that he fled to our plane after some political disgrace, so they sheltered him after he went into exile. It seems so. If Ironwood was Penny's creator... Weiss grabs a bundle of papers and rapidly sifts through them. I look over her shoulder, but with the speed Weiss is going through them, I can't make heads or tails of anything. Is this a good thing, or... Hush, I'm thinking. She continues writing notes and begins muttering to herself. I go to the workstation and grab the bundle of notes. Most of it is technical gibberish, which I set aside for the more engineering-minded folks. Near the bottom of the pile is a few pages bound in string that read, Final Report Logs and Retrospective. I skimmed to the very last entry. Entry 108. The Summer Rose Court blames me for Edubige's disappearance and have charged me with treason. I must flee. Edubige lies in the heart of everything, at the stage where my tragedy played out. Her pendrake lies sleeping beside her. I cannot bear to release her from her shackles. In trying to slay death, I created life. How glorious. I'm seeing red, but I force myself to take several deep breaths. It's over. It's ancient history. Focus on what you can do now. I'm sorry. The voice is so small, I might have mistaken it for the wind. But I look over to Penny, heart clenching again. We're still looking. I promise we'll figure this out. I promise you, Penny. There's a loud shout. Startled, I see Pyrrha pounding one fist into her open palm. She can hear us? She starts grumbling then, rubbing her temple. So that's why Ren and Nora were so insistent I go talk to her. Sweating nervously, I take a long enough break to stop, have a breather, and fill Pyrrha in. That's nice of Ren and Nora to do that. After several days, I'm summoned back to the underground lab. Oobleck carts in some heavy-looking machinery. Lengths of wire are wrapped around his forearms. What's all this stuff for? For our first attempt. I help him with the wires, getting a little nervous as no further explanation is forthcoming. To my surprise, Pyrrha steps through the doorway and joins us. Hello again, Ruby! I was told my presence was sorely needed. Oh, really? Are they gonna try something with Pyrrha's semblance? With both eyebrows arched, I search the room for Weiss again and see her steadfastly ignoring us. I'm sure it was for your mechanical expertise. The fact that she isn't acknowledging me at all is damning enough. Weiss coughs loudly, dusting off one of the bookshelves. A red flush slowly crawls up the back of her neck. Captain Nikos is being kind enough to assist us in our preliminary tests. Thank you. The note showed us something new. Tell me more. I go over to her, sitting on the table and taking her hand. There might be a way that you can lift my aura up without completely draining yours. So there's a chance? A slim chance. I'm certain I've caught the underlying problem. It was Edubige. We've all been running under the assumption that Penny drained her dry in an instant. But according to this journal, Edubige could have severed the connection. She just chose not to. It was not instantaneous. It took several months, maybe even years, before Penny's friend succumbed. So we start small and stoke the flames of life from a single spark. Ironwood was a genius, but I have 2 centuries of advancements at my side. Not to mention, I am also a genius. Genius? That's debatable. Oh, Penny. I choke back a laugh, covering my mouth and walking to the other side of the workbench. Now, if we're quite ready, I feel it's time to perform some initial tests. He beckons to a chair beside Penny's table. Loops of wire are hanging from it, which all lead to a collection of strange machinery. Alright, let's give it a shot. It doesn't take long for me to get hooked up. Whenever you're ready. I close my eyes and focus on my aura. It's like reaching out with my semblance, but instead of pushing the air around me into a gust, I focus on that faint ache I feel, my connection with Penny. I feel that ache reach back. There's a warmth there as our auras mingle. And then everything burns. I reel back, but the fire clings to my mind, clawing at me. A shock runs through me, and then I open my eyes. I'm on the ground, Oobleck beside me. In my head, I can hear Penny's voice calling out for me in rising panic. What happened? Well, bit of an aura surge there. Had to jolt you out of it. Penny, are you okay? It's fine. I'm fine. It's just, I'm dying. How are you? No! Then her body starts to convulse. What? Pushing me aside, Oobleck hovers over her, a cluster of dust crystals in his arms. I can only stand back with both hands over my mouth, horrified. What's happening? She said she was dying. She's leaking aura. It's that damn reservoir. What do we do? She ignores me and stares hard at the different gauges on her equipment. She flips each switch in rapid, precise succession and scowls harder and harder at each failure. Wrong, 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 wrong. Oh, got you, you sneaky little bug. She runs over to Penny and reaches into her chassis. There's a long, tense minute where I can barely breathe as I watch her work. But then there's a click, and Penny's body stops convulsing immediately. Oi steps back with a satisfied smile. In her hand is a tiny mote of dust. And there we have it. Behind her, Penny opens her eyes. Penny? Penny looks in my direction, or at least she tries. Her eyelids flutter, but it doesn't look like she can move anything beyond that. It's slowing down. Ruby, take a look at this. She beckons me to a microscope, under which was the dust mote. I look through it and can see some sort of blackened veins running through what should have been a pure crystal. It looks rotten. Can dust do that? It's blighted by Grim. Crystals like these are usually destroyed, as they can ruin a whole batch. Then why was it inside Penny? A very good question. Ironwood shouldn't have missed this. I do believe the Pendrake project was a victim of sabotage. My heart freezes. Somebody wanted him to fail? But why? Could it have been Crescent? I turn back over to Penny. Her eyes lock with mine, and her small voice wavers in my head. To hurt Edie? Why would someone do that? What was it for? The question is, how to proceed from here. I want to keep trying. I don't like just standing here while you risk yourself. Well, as a matter of fact, that's why we requested your presence. If I'm not mistaken, your aura is still untapped, yes? That's correct. Which is why you're perfect. If she can't use her aura, how would that help? I see Pyrrha frown in confusion, wondering the same question. Simple, really. When a person's aura is unlocked, it's not unlike opening a floodgate of energy. Most of the time, the aura is just wasted, but it's possible to redirect it, in this case, into Penny. It'll bolster her reservoir with the initial surge, letting you shoulder some of Ruby's burden. Is it safe? It's as safe as possible given the circumstances. That's not the same thing as safe. I will gladly do all I can help. I will gladly do all I can to help my queen. Oobleck hooks myself and Pyrrha back to the monitoring equipment. I place my hand on Penny's, and Pyrrha does the same before reaching out to me. You ready? If you're sure. Yes.
You know what?
I don't know if I forgot when it was when the crew of Summer Rose Court kind of like stopped taking in canonical inspirations from the show. But the fact that Pyrrha is here almost makes me feel like this is sort of like a meta redemption arc for her. Because in the show, Pyrrha accidentally killed Penny. PvP, the episode PvP. And now in the game, it's Ruby and Pyrrha coming together to save Penny. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but I think that's really, really cool. Closing my eyes, I focus on their hands. My aura reaches out to Penny first. Her light is faint, but steady, slowly growing brighter as I focus on it. I stay with her for a moment, cautious about another sudden drain, but it never comes. Okay, we've got this. Together, we reach out to Pyrrha. Her presence is cool and shrouded, like it's hiding in the shade. Then Pyrrha finds us, and her aura bursts of light, buffeting us with power. I open my eyes and see Pyrrha enveloped in a sparkling red light. I look over at Penny to see her glowing a soft glittering green. Penny? How do you feel? Looking at her this way, I can see the struggle within her soul, and then it bursts upward into light, and Penny's eyes open. She blinks a few times before smiling at the ceiling, looking exhausted. Penny speaks out loud. Suboptimal, but functional. It worked! He hollers, leaping into the air and kicking out in joy. I'm Oobleck. Pyrrha's eyes are still closed, seemingly in a trance. Captain Nikos? Pyrrha jolts in surprise, her eyes snapping open. Oh, I'm sorry, Suddenly, every tool and piece of machinery is yanked 3 feet in the air. Even Penny jolts a few inches off the table. Ah, it's her semblance. Magnetism kicking into effect. Something tugs me, like a giant hand dragging me into the ceiling and rattling me around. A quick panicked glance around the room confirms Weiss is suspended as well, but not Oobleck or Pyrrha. Ah! Everything hangs midair for a moment before clattering to the ground in a cacophony of steel. Oh my goodness! Weiss steps gingerly through the mess of tools scattered across the floor. She reaches out to grab her sword, or tries to. Quit running away. The sword continues twitching away as though it's alive. Pausing to think, Weiss takes off her gauntlets and armor. She tries again, this time with success. Similar charges, perhaps? She swings the sword once, humming in thought. Well, congratulations, Captain Nikos. If I'm correct, your semblance might grant you control over polarity. Are you sure? That definitely affected more than just the pole arms. I point at Little Thorn vibrating in the corner. Weiss gives me a withering stare for some reason before walking towards Penny. The readings look promising. You two will need rest. I'll keep monitoring you. But I think we're out of the woods, at least. Penny flexes her fingers experimentally before attempting to stand. I put my hands on her shoulders, urging her to stay put. Whoa, slow down, rest, remember. Oh yes, my apologies. It's just a relief to be able to move again. Her face scrunches up, like she's close to tears. Thank you. Truly, Thank you. Penny's better! Oh my god, look at that smile. Man, oh my god, I was so scared that we would lose Penny in some freak narrative accident, but we did it. We got her. We got her back. This is such a relief. Man, that was an intense Mechanical Rose segment right there, and it was just so nice to see Ruby caring so deeply for Penny, staying by her side, and working together with Crescent and with Weiss and with Oobleck to bring her back to us. Like, they're very good people, and I'm glad that Ruby has them as allies, and as friends. For the next few days, Penny is confined to bed rest while Weiss runs at least a dozen tests. It's a week until she's fully recovered, and I get a knock on my door. Penny, is that you? Come on in. Penny pokes her head inside. How can you tell? There's only one person whose knock sounds like a metal glove hit the door, Penny. Oh, how astute. She steps inside and I pat the bed beside me. Taking the invitation, she sits down. So... There's a bit of an awkward silence, but Penny breaks it with a laugh and places her hand in mine. You saved me. Well, Weiss did most of the work. Did you know you're really quick to dismiss your good deeds? I pause, lacking a good response to that. I'm not broken. I'm allowed to want more than just to exist. You helped me realize that. To my surprise, Penny leans forward and presses a kiss to my cheek. Oh! That's all I wanted to say for now. Oh my god, it's happening. It's happening. She squeezes my hand and then stands up suddenly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I want to take a walk. She steps toward the door, struggling against gravity. I get up to my feet. Wait, do you, want company? Penny looks back at me, and her smile makes all the hardship over the past week worth it. I'd love company. Oh my god, we did it! We did it! We got Penny back to our side. Oh my god, this... From like one tense moment to the next, like this was probably my favorite moment in the past few episodes that I've recorded and played through. This... I could just feel like the electricity in the air whenever Ruby was by Penny's side, and how deeply she cared for her and loved her in her own way. And it paid off, like that one line, you know, that smile that Penny gave that made all the past hardships in the last week worth it. That was a beautiful line. And mad props again to Zunies, who created the most wonderful and expressive and beautiful sprites of Penny, because even now when I look at her and I just see her smile, the starry eyes that she gets whenever she's like super excited, it just fills my heart with joy, and it really, really makes me just so happy to see that. So, of course, props to Zunies. Props again to whoever wrote this scene. Whoever you are, you did an excellent job. Thank you. Thank you for delivering on that sweet mechanical rose content. It's what I crave every day, and it was such a beautiful moment. And I really can't wait to see how the story plays out for Ruby and Penny in the coming episodes. Anyways, we're gonna call it an episode as we are approaching the hour mark. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all on the next episode of Ruby Summer Rose Court. Until then. Let us take it.